Most notable last month was footage of unreleased titles being revealed for the first time, with arguably the most interesting being Rare revealing footage of Project Dream for the SNES. An action-adventure using pre-rendered 3D visuals similar to Donkey Kong Country, its development moved on to the N64, but it eventually morphed into a game starring a bird and a bear. You may have heard of it. Second was Jon Romero unveiling footage of his attempted port of Super Mario Bros. 3 for the PC that he pitched to Nintendo. Although the game was never released, it did play a big part in showing that smooth side-scrolling titles were possible on home computers. Next up was that you can now pre-order a remix album of the music from the WipEout series, with a copy, along with some freebies, setting you back £18.96. It should be out by the end of March, and I've actually used one of the tracks as the backing music for this section. Finally, some action figure versions of Bill and Lance from Contra have been announced. They won't be released until April though, and there's no indication of how much they'll cost. We'll start this section with the Wii U's eShop, which received a wide range of ports. These included Game Boy Advance titles Game & Watch Gallery 4, Polarium Advance, and Onimusha Tactics, N64 games Mario Tennis, 1080 Snowboarding, and Wave Race 64, and finally SNES classic Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. The 3DS's eShop received no retro releases at all, but PlayStation 4 owners were better served, with PlayStation 2 titles PaRappa the Rapper 2 and Fantavision becoming available through PSN. The service also received a PC port of PlayStation 1 RPG Final Fantasy VII, as well as another entry in the Arcade Archive series, this time shooter Mag Max. PS3 owners, on the other hand, received a re-release of Grand Theft Auto San Andreas through PSN. Staying on the subject of Sony, at the recent PlayStation Experience event, Double Fine Productions announced it was remastering Graphic Adventure Full Throttle for the PS4 and PS Vita, and the first gameplay footage of the Final Fantasy VII remake was also revealed. To round things off for this segment, a remastered version of Turok was released on PC, and a remake of Shadowgate was made available to download on iOS and Android devices. Hey, do you remember the Retro VGS? The system that tried and failed to drum up interest in a new retro-focused console experience? Well, it's back, and it's now called the Coleco Chameleon. A Kickstarter page is expected to be launched to help fund it, and a public showing is scheduled for the New York Toy Fair in February. Next up, an add-on for the Retro Freak, a console that allows you to play games across a range of systems, has been announced, and will add Game Gear, Sega Mark III and SG-1000 compatibility. It'll become available to buy in February, but no price tag has been given for it just yet. Finally, Crix has revealed a working prototype of its upcoming Game Boy Advance flash cartridge, titled the EverDrive GBA, but there's no indication as to when it will be finished and available to buy. A fair amount of homebrew news this month, with the first being the release of Life on Mars, a Metroid clone, for the MSX2 range of computers. A copy will set you back a hefty €39 plus shipping, however. All the rest of this month's games are free to download though, including Why Manu's Scary Monsters Saga for the Sega Master System, the Gizzle WAP and the Strange Red Tree for the Atari 2600, and a fan-made sequel to Ghosts and Goblins called Ghosts and Demons for Windows. There were a few other pieces of homebrew news in December, including the developer of the unreleased Star Raiders 2 for the Atari 8-bit range of computers sharing the title's ROM for everyone to download online. Second was that fans of the unreleased prototype version of Resident Evil 2 have been working on finishing the game and released a demo of their efforts so far, which includes a new mode called Battle Coliseum. Finally, a trailer for upcoming Mega Drive platformer Mega Cheril Perils was unveiled, as well as a demo of a Master System port of the original MS-DOS Duke Nukem. 4 fan translations this month, and they're all for Nintendo systems. The first is Okamoto Ayako 2 Match Play Golf Ko-Olina Golf Club in Hawaii for the SNES. The second, Famicom Disk System title Jinja Denshu Galaxy Odyssey, and the last 2 are NES games, SD Kaiji Blader and Battlestorm. That's all for this month then, but thanks so much for watching, and please do let me know what you think of the news in this instalment by leaving a comment. Oh yeah, and Happy New Year!